Alrighty. And we are on Acid Plant. We're in the northwest corner of the map. Our pink Protoss from Epunks, it is the LadyAzylis. And in the southeastern corner of the map, our orange Zerg, it is Riffraff. Having a bit of a conversation at the beginning of the game. Right. Looks like both of them opening standard. There's a pylon at home for Azylis. Azylis not particularly known for her cheesy play. We're opening up with the hatchery first. It is the usual way against the Protoss. Nothing too strange about that. Usually on this map, you can also go for a kind of proxy gateway. Not sure if Azylis would go for this. This probe might just be here just to see the timing on the third hatchery, but yeah, this map really easy to abuse with air harassment, and the proxy location could be really helpful. Quite difficult to scout as well. In the meantime, as well as setting up a wall, not going to be caught unprepared for any kind of attack, which doesn't seem to be coming. We're getting 4 Zerglings. That's on the medium size, non-aggressive, just enough to get any adept that tries to march across the map. Azylis getting a full wall off. Look at that. That is a complete wall. Probably expecting a bending bust from riffraff, which isn't really coming. This should work. Doesn't look like it. They're going to get speed. March a few Zuglings across the map. Because it is not saying the any third hatchery coming up just yet. So she might be very suspicious that riffraff is going to be quite aggressive. She's getting a shield battery, she's getting a sentry to defend. That one sentry should be enough, including the Zerglings. Especially with a shield battery at hand. And an adept on the way. 2 adepts on the way. Yeah. Riffraff in the meantime just getting drones, getting blocked here, but not doing anything about it. Riffraff is a little distracted, I think. They still haven't noticed that the third hatchery hasn't really been plopped down. Right, one Zogli is going to come here. I'll place this probe away. So this hatchery already delayed for a very long time. 4-minute hatchery. So riffraff will go for roaches and banelings. Okay, that could work. I mean, the banelings will be helpful in busting up this wall. But it looks like Azylis will be vigilant about it. But one sentry getting energy, another sentry at hand as well. Doesn't look like she's going to be caught red-handed here. She's going to have a lot of immortals out. 2, maybe 3 by the time this attack comes. Assuming riffraff is going for a baning blast, and that's not some kind of defensive baning nest. So yeah, Forge coming down for LadyAzylis. Warp Prism, which is going to help out. Probably going for an Immortal drop. Which is, makes sense when you have such a solid wall. You want your... you need to get your Immortals out of the base somehow. Yeah, these Earthlings, they're not going to break anything here. Also doing a good job preventing vision from Riffraff, who hasn't really seen any of these tech choices here by Azylis. Who's getting a lot of gateways. Looks like she's going for a charge lot warp-in bonanza with Archons, question mark, getting Templar Archives. It's going to be a double Immortal drop with a follow-up of a lot of Archon charge lots. No, it's not a drop, just staying at home. Both of them waiting for the other to attack. In the meantime, Riffraff is getting a Hydralisk then, +1 melee and +1 range. So definitely going to get a combination of Baneling and Roach, which is not something you see every day. That might actually work well, question mark, against the charge lots. Not so much against the Immortals, but the Hydralisks would be nice. Okay. Okay, so it's Immortal Archon. Yeah. And I like all the sentries, but there's really nothing to defend at home. If Riffraff goes for any kind of attack here at the front, there's nothing to defend. This Riffraff is getting a couple of spies. That's going to be helpful here. Azylis is just going to swarm more and more Zealots here, as long as she keeps these Archons and Immortals alive, and the sentries have their force fields. She should be fine and should be able to trade here until forever. Ravagers are going to be really helpful against these force fields. And Azylis is out of meat. There are no more Zealots. The Archons are down, the sentries are down, the Immortals are all alone. There's no reinforcements. Now there's some, but that's not a lot. Banings get some of them. Riffraff still has enough forces here to hold this. I think this is a bit of a bust for Azylis. Two Immortals are still alive. There's still a bit of a threat. There might be a chance to get this hatchery with the next warp-in of the charge lots. Get the charge lots to distract the units while the Immortals get the hatchery. No, Riffraff is just about enough. This still might work. She's getting the Ravagers. The Immortals are still here. They're the big, beefy damage dealers. Banning smash into them, but they kind of waste themselves on Immortals. Another warping of Zealots. This hatchery will probably go down now. Yeah, Riffraff is abandoning it. Okay, the Hydralisks are in. They're going to be very dangerous against these Immortals. Azylis needs to be really careful. Another warping of Zealots. No, actually, that's High Templars. Need to get more into Archons. The Immortals are surrounded. They managed to find a way out. They get picked up. The Archons can be picked up. We can actually kite these Zerglings and get them in one volley. Azylis kind of going to run all the way back home. Actually, the Archon's dying to Zerglings. That's that fella's a bit of an he is getting +2 weapons though, and with these charge lots, this should really easily be cleaned up. Yeah, the Immortals get dropped again, and this is going to seesaw back into Riffraff's side of the map. Hydraulic speed is about to hit, so this might just get away from here. Nope, probably not. one of them will manage to escape. Speed, come on. There we go. One sneaky snake manages to survive, but riffraff still struggling to get that third base. It's just about to finish. Azylis not getting a third base of her own, which might be a bit of a mistake. She's bunkering up on these two bases and pretty much going all in at this point. She still has a very scary army. And there's not much defender from. No, it is enough with these adepts. Okay, these zealots don't all go down to the banelings, which is lucky because if they did, it would be very dangerous for her. Mortars are still doing damage, but they're out of the fight. Yeah, the Immortal Archons are still... Wait, the War Prison, I think... Yeah, no. Where is it? Where is War Prison? Oh, it's all the way back here. Okay. So one Immortal does go down. But Azylis isn't really threatening that base. This is the base she really should be trying to get into. Either that or this natural. Let's see if she manages to get in there and do some damage. Because she's running out of time. Riffraff is rebuilding, getting more workers. If this army gets cleaned out for Azylis, there isn't much she can do to come back. Lost the weapon started, but it'll be a while before it's finished. Zerg does have +2 melee and range, so they're pretty much equal and not great. So more Zerg's going to come on in. So this is floating a lot of minerals, just doesn't have enough gateways to work with more. It's going to get a couple more Archons as well. She's not taking up, she's not getting ahead in any way, just since she's just struggling to use the economy that she has. She has the huge bank here of 2,500 minerals. Nothing to produce with. And this is where the locking yourself behind a wall really works against you, because it makes it really difficult to go ahead and get a base. You have to either kill one of your buildings to open up a path, or bring your war prison all the way back home just to ferry some probes. And then you're stuck on two bases that you really can't do anything with. I think she'll be able to make it though. She's still in a very good position. She's been trading really well against riffraff. This base should be able to go down, or at least get out of the mining game. No, she backs off. Okay, another wave of zealots. That is this hatchery. Okay. No, hatchery. Okay, now it's down. And this should be it for riffraff. This is a bit of a clutch situation there, as it just took a long time to actually break the Zerg here. And I think they should be tapping out any second now. Got 15 workers. The spawning port is going to get sniped out. There we go. There's GG. And LadyAzylis will take the first point in this best of 3. Right. Let's go into game 2, which will be on Catalyst. There we go. Alrighty, welcome to Catalyst now. Northwest corner of the map are pink Protoss. From Epochs, it is the LadyAzylis. In the southeast corner of the map are yellow Zerg. It is riffraff. Now, let's see if Azylis goes for the same thing as before. This is a similar wall to the one you have in Acid Plant. The wall of the natural with a couple of gateways and a cybernetics core. And then defend against any kind of bust that comes your way. But like we saw in the previous game, it is a bit of a risky move, because it kind of doesn't force you to stay on two bases, but it does encourage you to stay on two bases, or at least discourages you from getting a third base, which might be a little risky here. If I'm going for a hatchery first and then do a pool, don't have enough gas to get speed when that finishes. So riffraff in the previous game wasn't really all too aggressive. Didn't go for a Bane bust as I was predicting. They were pretty much on the defensive the entire game. LadyAzylis took the initiative in that respect. Yeah, this is a full wall off again. Looks like Azylis is going for the exact same thing. I wonder if riffraff will let her get to that point this time, or will they try to be a little more aggressive earlier on? This time 6 Zerglings coming out. It's slightly more than there were before. Previous game, riffraff put out 4 Zerglings. I think you need, what is it, 8 Zerglings to take down a cybernetics core before there's before the Zerglings die. I could be wrong on that. Could definitely be wrong on that. Don't quote me on that, please. Please and thank you. Okay, riffraff not being too aggressive, only sending 6 Zerglings. Speed is quite a long way off, and this stalker should really be able to deny any kind of damage here. There's a sentry coming out as well. 2 sentries actually. And a robotics facility again. Yeah, so Azylis looks like going for the exact same build as she did before. To get the 2 immortals, do a warp prism, and then start to get out across the map and switch into Charge Lot Archon. And then just go all in with that. Riffraff getting a Roachhorn again. Okay, this time being a little more proactive with getting that hatchery, but still getting it quite late. It's 3:45. In the previous game it was at 4 minutes. But yeah, I was going for the same thing. Now, if riffraff is a little more vigilant this time and a little more prepared, they might be able to push Azylis back without taking as much damage. Yeah, see Twilight Council coming up. 1 immortal is already ready, the second one is coming out. Your way, unbuildable rocks. Away with you. No, away with you, Overlord. Don't scout me. Okay, this Overlord should be down before getting a view of what Azylis has in store. See, yep, it's going to be charge lots. So to see the Templar Archives come down anytime. So, oh, maybe she's skipping the Templar Archives and just going for straight up immortal and charge lots. That's going to hit at a much earlier timing. Yeah, she's keeping the Templar archives. It's a good move, I think. Because, yeah, riffraff is just droning up. They've got very little army on it. 2 roaches, 5 zerglings, 3 queens. That's not going to be enough against a wave of charge lots. Now they are getting... Alright, they are getting more roaches. Roach speed. Overload speed as well is going to be helpful. With scouting. As he's getting some shield batteries, getting prepared to defend here. When the counter-attack comes, riffraff getting a good look on Azylis' 3rd base. Making sure she's staying on this 2-base all-in path. Yeah, riffraff this time much more better prepared. Ravagers are coming in. Where's that war prism? Did it slip? Oh, there he is. Oh, she did get the Templar Archives. Yeah, so... Yeah. She's not going to hit. Earlier she's going to hit the exact same timing. With the Archons and the Charge Lots and the Immortals. Backed by a Warp Prism. And riffraff is going to have the Ravagers to defend. Fortress and Banelings. They're basically going for the same thing. I think the Hydralisks are a little earlier this time for riffraff, which is going to be helpful. Also, this time not getting melee, +1 melee. Might be a little better for riffraff. Setting the resources on that. The Zealots get surrounded. The Zealots really has to back off before losing these heavy units. Gonna get another wave of warpins. Archon's doing a great job cleaning out the Zerglings. The Chargers are all over the roaches. Immortals aren't all in the fight. One of them is just shooting the hatchery. Azylis losing the Immortal. Not Immortal, the Archon. Both of them. Going to back off. Oh. Right, she's warping in at home. Expecting a counter-attack, perhaps? Yeah, this attack definitely gets pushed back. Riffraff is just getting more banelings. Yeah, this time Azylis is doing a lot less damage than in the previous game. So this might go on for a little while. Overload speed comes into play. Riffraff with a good overload positioning. Yeah, and they know Azylis is going all in with these 2 bases. There's no 3rd base in sight. Zergling's going to be able to sneak in. We get caught by one Zealot. And defensive warpins at home should be able to clear this up without a problem. If Azylis pays attention here. Yep, there we go. The adepts will clean this out. 4 Archons, 2 Immortals, and not a lot of Zealots though. Gonna maybe wait for another wave of warpins before moving in. Gotta have the meat shields over here. There we go. No upgrades for Azylis, +1 range for riffraff. So, riffraff is getting +1 carapace and +1 melee this time. And this is... Azylis doesn't have a lot of time to do damage. Yeah, riffraff this time holding it way better than the previous game. There's the war prism, still at the back. No second wave. Okay, Azylis managing to save 1 Archon and 2 Immortals. It's 3 Archons died there. That's a lot. Now I feel like by this time, Azylis could have had Storm with this army as well. Should have been so helpful against these Hydralisks. Even if you have just 1 or 2 Templars, you know, sacrifice one Archon to have 2 Templars with energy. And yeah, that would be so helpful. I'm wondering why she's not getting that. Okay, a few fire shots to push the photos on the way. 3 spine crawlers in a row. Now this could snipe out this evolution chamber, I think, but let's threaten it with the immortals, trying to bait Riffraff to move into her position. She's going to jump on these spine crawlers, get them cleaned out almost entirely before the army comes here. And she's just going to poke in and out of here while building up more forces. Okay, that's 6 Archons now. It's getting a little bit ridiculous. Oh, slow hydralisks. Oh, so embarrassing. Still not ready to call this out. This is a pretty strong army for Azylis. But Riffraff has a lot of hydralisks still. About to be +2. It's very dangerous. Could use a force field to split the army. One immortal is hurt now. Both immortals are still alive. Some bile shots don't really connect with anything. A lot of Archons died. Not enough zealots here. Yeah, the Azylis is floating a lot of minerals. You know, could have used 5 more warp gates to warp some more zealots with that army. I think this fight would have looked very different. She definitely had the resources to warp in a hell of a lot more. There's just not enough gateways available. Right, so this wall this time is opened up, so she can get the 3rd base. Riffraff does have a good view of that, and they're getting their 4th base while this is happening. This is switching to a much later game. Azylis now taking up with the storm. She definitely has the resources to get all of this. And Riffraff on 4 bases, gonna be very dangerous for this Protoss. She's way behind on upgrades. Not really thinking she's just now getting a forge. This is it's gonna put her so behind. It's not even a double forge, it's just one. It looks very dangerous for Azylis. Riffraff has managed to hold really well, and not only just hold, but really advance in the game. Now the storms could really come in handy. They're still very dangerous. There are 4 High Templars here. They don't have a lot of energy, but between them they have about 6 or 7 storms. This should be enough to clear out a lot of this army, or at least chase it back and buy time. Also a robotics bay coming up, so we might see some disruptors? Question mark. Could be Colossi as well. I think disruptors would be a little nicer. Pushing the armies away. They are going to move in right into storms. Storms are doing so much damage. This army is very, very damaged. A lot of it is in the red. One more storm and this gets cleaned out. And Riffraff realizes this and has to back off. Right, so Azylis will go for Colossus. Getting thermal lance for Colossus range. Infestation pit for Riffraff coming down. So we might just see some infestors coming into play, which is going to help a lot with the road, not roaches, with the, get them, it's with the zealots. Wow, but this is a lot of High Templars with a lot of stuff. Oh, hitting a lot of wide shots there. These storms should be able to clean up this army if it's not careful, and they are not very careful. More storms coming out. This entire sword army disappears. More stone. Oh boy. That was insane. Look at this streak of blood. Ah, boy. That was rough. That was rough. So Azylis gets to keep the third base undisturbed. So far, 2 drones, 2 probes died in this game. They really haven't managed to do damage. They've been trading just army units. They've been attacking and defending without actually getting damage done. Okay, run by here shouldn't be able to do much. There's some zealots to defend. Might get a few probes here and there, but okay, that's 2 probes. That's not much. Okay, Azylis gets to set up a 4th nexus. Doesn't look like there's anything threatening it right now. Riffraff really doesn't have the army to really attack it. If Azylis brings her army into play, if she defends, so she's not responding so far. Okay, the army is going to come in here because we can probably get a cancel on this base. No, it does get to go up. Storms are a good unit. Storms are just enough to hold this. Especially with that, those 2 colossi moving in. Colossuses? Colossi? Colossus trolls. Zealot run by, going to get a few workers. Nothing too big. Hydralis should clear this up quite quickly. But Riffraff has had a lot of trouble rebuilding an army that can stand up to Azylis. And also kind of dropping behind in terms of workers. Not because of any worker damage. There aren't even 9 workers died in this game for both players. It's Riffraff is just staying behind on production. Azylis taking in a defensive position here. Not really have. She doesn't really has the mid shield to move out on the map. Does have a lot of zealots. Only 11 of them out on the map. Only 5 here. And all of these quality units, the Colossi, the Templars, Immortals, they need mid shields to deflect damage off of them while they do the main damage. Okay, another run by getting some drones. It is going to break some rocks to prevent any avenue of attack from Riffraff. We are going to see Riffraff trying to get a 5th base. Azylis actually going to get a cancel on that with just 4 zealots. That's a bit unfortunate for Riffraff, who's now stuck behind on bases. The 4th base for Azylis got to go up. It's now fully oversaturated. She's kind of straining for gas at the moment, but she could do mine a little more if she needs. She's way behind on upgrades. She only has +2 weapons, while Riffraff has +2 melee, +2 range, and +2 carapace. And getting +3 range, which is so powerful with this Hydralis. Also going for a Greater Spire, just about to finish. So we're going to see some Broodlords maybe coming in. Still, Azylis has the much bigger army supply, has the much more quality units. The one thing is, she has very little anti-air against the Broodlords. But Riffraff doesn't really have the big economy to make Broodlords really work as the main fighting force. They're going to be helpful as backup, but that's not enough to break the Portos army. And Azylis is getting Blink, which is going to help with the Broodlords. Going to pressure Riffraff's forward base. Probably going to get that killed. Riffraff jumping on top of Azylis to try and defend this. This is all going to go down. All the workers here are dead. 16 of them, 21 of them. The stones are just doing so much damage. Look at the bank of stones that Azylis has. You can stone for days. You can get blue dots with stone. Just this is just too much for this Zerg. All the quality units are still here. GG's goal. And Azylis will take this series 2-0.